Recorded Books and RB Digital present Any Day Now by Robyn Carr. Narrated by Thérèse Plummer. Home is the place where, when you have to go there, they have to take you in. Robert Frost. Chapter 1. So, this is what a new life looks like. Sierra Jones opened her eyes on a sunny Colorado morning to that thought. She'd given this a great deal of consideration. Colorado hadn't been her only option, but she decided it might be the best one. Her brother Cal, with whom she shared a deep bond, was making a life here, and he wanted her to be a part of it. Sierra needed a new place to start over. A place with no bad memories, where she had no history and yet had a strong emotional connection. Her big brother was a powerful pull. When she was a child, it was Cal who'd protected her, loved her unconditionally, cared for her, worried on her behalf. He was 8 years older, but had been more than just her brother. He'd been her best friend. And when he'd left home, or what passed for home, when she was 10 years old, she'd been adrift. When she'd finally made up her mind to give this place a chance, Cal wanted her to come directly to his house. His house in progress, that is. But that didn't sound like a good idea. There was only one bedroom finished so far. And, more important, she wouldn't be a burden to anyone, and absolutely didn't want to be in the way of a new couple who were just feeling their way into marriage. Cal and Maggie had been married less than 6 months and were living in the barn they were converting into a house. Sierra thanked them kindly and said she'd prefer to find her own lodgings and live on her own. A very important part of creating a new life was independence. She didn't want to be accountable to anyone but herself. That's what she'd told them. The truth, hidden protectively in her heart, was that she was afraid to depend on Cal again, as she had when she was a little girl. He had a new family after all. She remembered too well the pain from her childhood when he'd abandoned her. It was awful. Independence was a little frightening. But, she reminded herself, she did have her brother near and willing to lend a hand if she needed anything. Just as she was more than eager to be there for Cal and Maggie. She was 30 years old, and it was high time she built a life that reflected the new woman she was becoming. This was a joyful, challenging, exciting, and terrifying change. If a little lonely at times. She had a short checklist of things she wanted to settle for herself before seeing Cal. First, she wanted to look around the area. Timber Lake was the town closest to where her brother and Maggie lived, and she thought it was adorable. It was a little touristy, a little on the Wild West side with its clapboard shop fronts and Victorian-style houses, surrounded by the beauty of snow-topped mountains and long, deep fields. The first day she spent in the small town, there was a herd of elk cantering down the main street. One big bull was bugling at the cows and calves, herding them away from the town and back to grazing land. They were at once majestic and klutzy, wandering in a little confusion through the cars. An old guy standing in front of a barber shop explained to her that with spring, they were moving to higher elevations. Cows were giving birth, grazing was found in different areas. And in the fall, he said, watch out for rutting season. Those bulls get real territorial. That was all it took for Sierra to begin to hope this would be the right place for her, because her heart beat a little faster just watching that grand herd move through town. The old guy had said, "You don't see that every day." She'd found a comfortable, clean, cheap hostel that would let her pay by the week, and they were just starting to get an influx of students and adventurers who wanted to take advantage of the Colorado springtime. She'd have to share a bathroom, but it wouldn't be the first time. She wasn't fussy, and it would make decent housing until she could find something more permanent. The owner of the hostel, a woman in her 60s called Midge, had said there were rooms and apartments being let by local homeowners all over town. The best part about—
Sample complete. Ready to continue?